Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to be creating the presentation style for the contact form. We're going to use CSS to make the form look prettier. So this is how the form looks at the moment. By the end of this lecture, it will look much more prettier than this. Okay, I'm inside my project folder in my text editor, and this is the CSS. This is where we'll write our CSS. Again, to save time, rather than you watch me type, the format will be that the code I've already written, I will paste in chunks at a time and then explain it to you. So with CSS, in order to style an element in CSS, you need to know the property and then the value. So the body here is referred to as the selector. So that's the item I'm trying to apply styling to. So this is basically how you write the CSS syntax. You start with the selector and then curly braces. That's the opening and that's the closing. And in between the curly braces is where you specify what you want the selector to do. I mean, what styling you want to apply to the selector. What I'm saying here, I want the font family, that is the text they use, to be either sans serif or Arial. So when you are specifying font families, it's always best to specify more than one. When specifying the font family, you need to specify more than one, just in case the computer or device that is being used to view this page does not have maybe your first choice. So this is the first choice. If they haven't got it, it will look for that. If they haven't got that, it will look for that. So most computers really do have one or two of these forms. So you're safe to use these selection, because you're very likely to find most computers have them. And then here I've got, notice when I have specified the font family, I've separated each one with a comma, and the final one, that's the semicolon. All your CSS, the property must end with a semicolon, the value for the property. So again here I've defined another property, which is a color. So I want the color here to be this. This is an hex value. Rather than use the actual color name, I've used the hexadecimal value. This is a good website that I go to as well. It's called color-hex.com. Again, you can see different colors. So try and use your own colors when you're creating this form so that it looks different and has your own impact on it. So these are the hex colors. So always use them, or you can use the actual color names if you know what the names are. Okay, I've pasted another set of styling here from line 5 to 12. Always end your values for your property with a semicolon. If not, it will not work. It's very important, little things like this. If you miss that out, it will not reflect in the styling. Okay, so this is the styling for the actual form itself. The width, I've set it to that. The margin basically is the distance is the outside distance, while padding refers to the distance inside. So when you think of margin, think of outside. Padding is the space inside, while margin refers to the space outside. When you set the margin to auto means it will center the element on the page. So notice I've used auto here. I've also used 10 pixels. When you set the margin, you usually set top, right, bottom, left. So this will apply to two values, and this will apply to two values. When you use how to remember the way the margin works or how you apply them, think of the word trouble and then take out the vowels, which are the O's. So you'll be left with TRBL, which is top, right, bottom, left. That's how I remember the steps to style them. Okay, so here I've given it padding 15 pixels, and these two values will cover all of them. When you are specifying two values for a padding, normally what that does, this is kind of like a short form way of doing it rather than specifying the 4 values. So when you specify 2 values, the first value will be applied to the top and the bottom, and then the second value will be applied to the right and the left. Okay, so first value goes to top and bottom, second value goes to right and left. It's the same process with the padding as well, whereby you've got 2 values specified, it will be applied in that order. Background, I've used a hex value here. This means black 000. Padding again from the bottom. What padding? I'm saying that from the bottom, I want the space. I want it to move, to create a space of 55 pixels to move up. Border radius is what gives it the rounded corner. So I've set this to 25 pixels. Feel free to play around with these values so that you can see how it works. I have pasted in some more styling from line 14 to 19. This is the styling I'm applying to the H1 selector. These are the properties. The margin, I've set it to that. Notice I've used all 4 values here. Font size, I've set it to that. Font size means the text size. I have set the text to align to the center, and the color is white. This means white in hexa value. I pasted some more styling from line 20 all the way to line 34. The process is basically the same. Once you can style one element, the styling is the same. Again, these are the selectors and these are the styling I've applied to them. If you're not sure what any of these mean, you can read them up or contact me. I'll be more than happy to explain, but the styling basically the same for everything. Border, I've specified that I don't want there to be any border. You got the font size, height, padding, all these I've mentioned before in earlier styles. So the process is exactly the same. I did have a box shadow there, but I've taken that out now just to keep it really simple. I have pasted in the styling for the button, which is the submit button. So that's from line 34 to line 47. Again, the process is the same. Basic styling, padding, color, text align, and so on. It's basically the same thing. Okay, I've got more styling here from line 50 to 60. This is the field set and the label. Field set is what houses the content of the form, like the label where you submit your name and stuff. So that's what I've given it, and this is the label, the actual name, and these are the values, the properties and values I've attached to that selector. Okay, finally, my last styling here is from line 61 all the way to 75. This is anywhere you see a hashtag here, that means it's an ID. So this ID here, this is reference to the button, the reset button. So when you've submitted the form, if there's any data left, the reset button will clear the data. So this is just the styling to make it look pretty. All right, so again, the process is the same type of styling: background color, text align, margin, width. You can set width to percentage or in pixels. When you set percentage, it is relative to the container that the selector is in. So that is it for our styling. So let me just click on save to make sure all the work has been saved. Let me bring that. Always save your work once you've done it so that there are no issues. So work is saved. I just refresh the contact form and we can see, voila. So there you go. So this is how it looks at the moment. So you can see it looks a lot prettier than how it was. So we have now applied styling to our form, and next lecture we'll be doing the JavaScript to implement the local storage. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.